Hi friends, it's Miss Linda. I want to wish you well today since we can't be together. I wish you well. I also want to read to you today Pete the Cat and his 4 groovy buttons. With permission from HarperCollins Children's Books, I would like to introduce the illustrator James Dean, the creator of Pete the Cats, and the author Eric Litwin. Pete the Cat and his 4 groovy buttons. Pete the Cat put on his favorite shirt, 4 big, colorful, round, groovy buttons. He loved his buttons so much that he sang this song. My buttons, my 4 groovy buttons. My buttons, my 4 groovy buttons. Pop! Oh no! One of the buttons popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? 3. 4 minus 1 equals 3. 1, 2, 3 buttons. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. He kept singing his song. My buttons, my 3 groovy buttons. My buttons, my 3 groovy buttons. Pop! Oh no! Another button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? 2. 3 minus 1 equals 2. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go, but he keeps on singing his song. My buttons, my 2 groovy buttons. My buttons, my 2 groovy buttons. Pop! Oh no! Another button popped and rolled away. How many buttons are left? 1. 2 minus 1 equals 1. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. He kept on singing his song. My button, my 1 groovy button. My button, my 1 groovy button. Pop! Oh no! The last button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? 0. 1 minus 1 equals 0. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. He looked down at his buttonless shirt, and what do you think he saw? His belly button. And he kept on singing his song. There's his belly button. My button, still have my belly button. My button, still have my belly button. I guess it simply goes to show that stuff will come and stuff will go. But do we cry? Goodness, no. Keep on singing. Buttons come and buttons go. Now I need to ask you a few questions, and you can drop the answers in the comment boxes below. Who remembers what this part of our book is called? What is this part of our book called? The front cover. This is the back cover. And who remembers what part of the book this is called? Oh, I know my friends know. This is the spine, and the spine works hard to keep our book together and safe. Keeps it strong. And the author of the book, the author writes the words and tells the story. And the illustrator, he draws and he takes pictures. He or she can draw and take pictures. And the title tells us what the story is about. Pete the Cat and his 4 groovy buttons. And every time that I start to read, I'm going to read from left to right, from the top to the bottom, I'm going to read from left to right. Thank you, friends. Have a good day.